This is a real footage of my usual bike route. For obvious reasons, I had to hide the faces. I encountered a long line of people waiting hours for a small portion of food. This is not unusual. Hundreds and hundreds of people looking for a piece of bread. The Red Cross, churches and other charitable organizations weekly give these aids to the poor people. But no, we're not talking about a poor country or the third world. In reality, we're in the country that has been awarded the title of the happiest country in the world for over 6 consecutive years. Do you know which one I'm talking about? Exactly. This line of people is from the residents of Tampere, one of Finland's largest cities. And this is not an exception. The real images you see are from the year 2024, showing one of the many lines of hundreds of people that constantly form in search of humanitarian aid, not only in Tampere, but also in Helsinki and many other cities across the country. How is this possible in one of the world's most advanced countries? Here we explain it to you. Let's go. Hey, Finland, welcome to NATO. We've got tanks, jets, and enough bureaucracy to make your head spin. Just kidding, sort of. But seriously, please, a military alliance means big changes. And for Finland, those changes come with a hefty price tag. We're talking millions more on defense. Now, Finland is known for its saunas and social safety net. So the big question is, will it become a right only for the rich? This isn't just some abstract geopolitical debate. Real people are feeling the impact. Families struggling to make ends meet, seniors worried about their pensions, the most vulnerable are often the first to feel the squeeze when budgets get tight. So let's break down Finland's dilemma. One moment before we continue, we need your help. Please subscribe to our channel. It costs you nothing and helps us a lot. We need more subscribers to be able to continue with this content, and your support is essential. Hit the cursor and subscribe, like the video, comment and share. This will allow us to continue creating more content for you. Thank you for your support. Let's talk numbers, people. In 2023, Finland spent a respectable 3.7 billion euros on defense. Not chump change, but nothing to write home about either. Fast forward to 2023 and bam, that number has skyrocketed to 6.3 billion euros. That's almost double, folks. We're talking a serious military upgrade here. New fighter jets, armored vehicles, maybe even one of those fancy submarines. Will they need all those fancy weapons? One thing is certain. The poor will pay the price, you and I, but not the bureaucrats. But here's the thing, security comes at a cost. And in Finland's case, that cost is being passed down to its citizens, many of whom are already struggling. Remember that comfy social safety net we talked about? Well, it's starting to look a little threadbare. To free up cash for all those shiny new weapons, Finland is making cuts, deep cuts, pensions trimmed, unemployment benefits slashed, family allowances. Don't even get me started. Housing allowances, social assistance, medical reimbursements, they're all feeling the pinch. It's like the Finnish government went on a cost-cutting rampage with a rusty pair of scissors. And who's left holding the bag? The most vulnerable, of course. Now let's talk about the social cuts that have financed this increase in military spending. The Finnish government has implemented several cuts in social benefits to save approximately 1.2 billion euros, which impacts hundreds of thousands of people. Let's break down some of these cuts. 1. Unemployment benefits. Elimination of child allowances. Estimated savings of 800 million euros. 2. General housing subsidy, reduction in assistance, estimated savings of 300 million euros, elimination of coverage for owner-occupied housing, starting in 2025. 3. Social assistance, stricter rules for housing costs, affects 406,000 households. 4. Childcare subsidies and child benefits, no index adjustments for childcare subsidies, initial increases are limited. 5. Pensions and disability benefits, limited index adjustments with smaller increases. And there are more cuts that we won't have time to detail. These cuts have been heavily criticized. Unions and social organizations argue that these adjustments disproportionately harm the most vulnerable sectors of society, such as low-income workers, students and single-parent families. However, it seems that past and present politicians and bureaucrats did not have problems to take economic decisions to finance the acquisition of weapons at the expense of the welfare of hundreds of thousands of vulnerable people. Clearly, decisions were made, but do not affect their own pockets or their luxurious parties and lifestyles. Seems that there are no cuts for luxuries of the current president, such as this luxurious acquisition. Finnish president gets new 1.1 million euros armoured car. So, what do you think about this? It's easy to talk about budget cuts in the abstract, but behind those numbers are real people with real stories. A single mother of two struggling to make ends meet on a reduced family allowance, or a pensioner forced to choose between heating his apartment and buying groceries. These aren't isolated cases. They represent a growing chorus of voices expressing concern, anger, and fear over the government's priorities. Critics argue that sacrificing social welfare for military might is short-sighted and ultimately counterproductive. They say it undermines the very fabric of Finnish society, creating divisions and hardship. For those struggling to put food on the table, these restrictions are devastating. Here's the thing about wars, they're expensive, not just for the countries directly involved, but for the entire global economy. And this is where this video becomes important, not only for Finns, but also for you who watch us, even if you live somewhere else. Yeah, every little conflict sent shockwaves through the global financial system. Energy prices skyrocketed, supply chains went haywire, inflation soared. And guess who gets hit hardest? You guessed it, the poorest people. Nations already grappling with poverty, hunger and conflict suddenly found themselves facing even greater challenges. A conflict anywhere is a threat to prosperity everywhere. But it is not an excuse to squeeze the poorest even more. Sacrificing social welfare can have devastating consequences. Increased poverty, inequality and social unrest. These are all very real risks. The Finnish government is walking a tightrope. Finland's story is a microcosm of a much larger global dilemma. We can't just bury our heads in the sand and pretend these issues don't exist. We need to hold them accountable for making responsible decisions that prioritize both safety and social well-being. We need to demand better from our leaders, and we need to stand in solidarity with those who are most impacted by these decisions. The decisions they make in the coming months and years will have far-reaching consequences, not just for Finland, but for the future of social democracy itself. The world is watching, and the stakes couldn't be higher. What do you think about the decisions made by the Finnish government? Do you think it was a good idea for Finland to join NATO? Who really benefits from wars? What can we do to show solidarity with the most vulnerable? Leave your answers and comments on this video. Join the discussion, and please don't forget to subscribe and like this video to support us. See you next time.